Murder is a free-to-join, low-commitment, book club-style PvP MMORPG gamers guild where we explore, experience, and talk about different MMOs. Quests are assigned each week for participants to complete on their own time, and we also schedule group conclaves to participate in. If that sounds fun or interesting to you, check out more via my Discord link in the description below. Hey, welcome back, Knights. Kniraven here. Last week, we put out a PvP music video for week 3 of Chapter 1 WoW Season of Discovery, and we are going to do at least one music video for every murder chapter. Strap in, we're going to try and make it fast, but we have 2 weeks worth of story to catch up on. After that, we as a group, the Murder, will discuss our experience so far with WoW Season of Discovery. As a reminder, for most of us, this is our first exposure ever to World of Warcraft, which is crazy because we are all experienced MMO players. If that's what you're here for, instead of my summary of the story, feel free to skip ahead. I've gone ahead and marked everything down below. So last week, we summoned Krakgak, the Voidwalker. We recruited Gunther Arcanus the Lich to the Forsaken. We kinda had an in with one of his old college buddies. And we defeated Thule Ravenclaw, their third college buddy, out on Fenris Island. Last but not least, we researched Lake Lordamir's ancient aquatic plague in an effort to aid the Royal Apothecary Society for Sylvanas in their efforts to create a new plague to wipe out all humans, bring them on to the Forsaken, and help us eliminate the Scourge. With the threat of Thule Ravenclaw removed, there was only one thing left for us to do to secure Silverpine Forest for the Forsaken. We had to take down Aragal from his seat power, presiding over the cursed Pyrewood village, filled with Worgen, and climb up his tower, the Shadowfang Keep. Major Ravenloft vibes. In preparation for this venture, I knew that I was going to need some more firepower. I returned to Carrington Halgar in the Undercity and sought out his guidance. He told me that I was now ready to summon a Syad, a Devourer of Souls, aka a succubus. Now, summoning a succubus is no easy feat. In order to do this, I would need to make a sacrifice, the hearts of 2 true innocents. And it was a daunting task because I had to go into the heart of the enemy to seek out their most innocent and pure of heart. I killed a blushing maiden waiting for her love to return home from battle. I killed a gentle saint who was helping refugees as they escaped war and the destruction that our people, the Forsaken, ravaged upon their home. But it was all cool because I got to summon my new waifu, Angie, and she is hot. Together with the Murder and my new waifu, we took to Shadowfang Keep, fighting our way through Pyrewood Village and up the hill towards Aragal's castle. And it turned out Aragal had been getting busy over the years because we had to plow our way through an army of his children. And they were all werewolves too. Do you think he's a furry? He actually had a large guard dog we had to beat named Fenris. Do you think he got Fenris from Fenris Isle? I feel like that would make sense. I'm a genius. Anyway, we fought Aragal, and it was a tough battle. We barely scraped by. Everybody on our team died except for me, and I just barely pulled through at the end. It was scary. This Aragal guy, he was teleporting, he was like throwing magic, but we managed. The Murder always pulls through. Plus, we were already dead anyway, so... With Silverpine free from the threats of Aragal, Thule, and the Dalaran mages, we were thanked for our services to the Forsaken and bid to continue our journey onto Terran Mill in Hillsbrad Foothills, the front line of a fierce standoff with the humans of Hillsbrad Fields and Durnhold Keep. Apothecary Renfarrell in Silverpine Sepulchre asked that I carry with me his research and deliver it to Apothecary Liddon in Terran Mill. You may be noticing a theme where I continue to carry on the findings of all these researchers I helped out from city to city. So we make our way to Terran Mill, and we learn the war is waging hard between the Horde and Alliance. Between gathering ingredients for Apothecary Liddon and the most intense world PvP I've seen since starting the game, High Executor Darthalia had me placed on tactical missions, removing arms dealers and key figures from the neighboring human town. I was even sent on a rescue mission to recover Horde allies held as prisoners of war. I reached the current level cap for Season of Discovery, 25, and my next video will actually be our final step in Season of Discovery. We'll be attempting the all-new Black Fathom Deep 10-man raid. This is new content, it's never been in the game before, and it's going to be a fun experience. It'll be my first full-on raid for Warcraft. It'll be fun. So, I'll see you guys next time. Alright, so what do you think of the combat system in a WoW Classic?
I like that you have to be facing the direction, and the instant casts are very satisfying to use, but the sit there and channel stuff is not very engaging for me.
I feel like it's dated. I prefer action combat like Black Desert, but it's nostalgic.
I think there's a little bit more complexity to it than there is to, for example, PWI. I think it's more fair to compare it to another tab targeting game. So I enjoy that there's more complexity, but I also think that it's slower paced. And as a caster, I really don't like the interrupts. The interrupts are rough, man.
It doesn't auto face you towards the target. As a melee, it's understandable for back in the day, but now I'm so spoiled that I prefer to click my skill and have my character automatically turn towards the target to initiate that attack.
I think it's a little slower, but that makes sense because it's classic and it's 20 years old. New World was a little bit quicker. Guild Wars seemed a little bit quicker as well. And yeah, retail is quicker as well. You get through content quicker.
Do you have any opinions of their monetization system?
I don't especially like subscription models just because I don't like subscriptions. It makes me stressed about playing the game, making sure I'm getting that money out of it. I prefer buy to play with some sort of cosmetic or unobtrusive monetization model. New World so far has been pretty good in that front. A lot of MMOs, especially when they're older, turn to more harsh monetization models as their fan base dwindles.
I don't really think about it.
I don't like the WoW token. I think, especially in retail, WoW feels like a very stereotypical pay-to-win game, honestly. Tons of bots, like, literally everywhere. I haven't been able to play a single day without seeing bots.
I have not had any issues with the in-game currency. I need money from my sugar daddy, but I don't look at their shop or, like, their online store or anything, so I have not had enough experience to describe how they make money.
They do a subscription. If it was microtransactions for anything other than the cosmetics and stuff, I'd have more of a problem. I dislike it when you can just skip through content quickly and just buy your way through. Blizzard just kind of seems to keep it to their cosmetics and then you have to pay monthly.
What is your opinion on Blizzard allowing mods?
I really like that. Generally, a lot of good and interesting things have came from mods historically in the gaming space. I think allowing mods is very healthy for a community.
I actually like that because it enhances the game. Within moderation, as far as it's not like directly interfering with the game, like balance wise, if it's utility, yes.
I like that they allow mods because I feel like when you allow them and create an API for them, there's better moderation of the mods, and I feel like it's going to happen anyway. Better to happen under the supervision of the people who are making the game.
I think that is positive. It's a good way to increase player enjoyment. However, there are certain mods that can go too far.
It's smart to the sense that then they get everybody else to do their job for them, kind of, and they can get creative people to make some pretty cool mods at times. The downside is for people who like to not really use mods, it is making them supposedly kind of have to increase the difficulty of the game, and that's something I've heard from multiple people, and even from Blizzard, I think themselves, where they have to up the difficulty level because people are using mods to make that the counters and stuff like that just not really all that relevant or, you know, that hard. So they up the difficulty level, and that kind of punishes those who aren't using mods then.
I paid attention to it on the macro scale a little bit more. I thought a lot of quests, there were very many of them and not many were actually interesting at all. I've sort of paid attention with where I was and what was happening. And overall, I thought it was pretty slow or not super engaging, but I think that really is early game. We're only up to level 25 now.
At parts, other times it's boring, other times it's really good. Overall, it's kind of weird, but yeah, it's pretty good. At least until certain expansions, then it gets fucking contradictory and weird.
I did enjoy the storyline. I thought it was good.
So far, I'm not that engaged. Probably the most interesting quest that I've dealt with was going to the Oasis for the Tauren and digging into that rift and experimenting with it and seeing how it affected things.
Some of the storylines have been engaging. Some have missed, but you know, it's kind of the way it's going to be, hit or miss depending on what kind of content you like. But yeah, it's hit or miss but I think it kind of curtails to your personal likes. And also, if you actually decide to read the stuff. I've definitely come across people who are like, oh, their content is horrible. And then you just ask them like, hey, did you even like read the quests or like pay attention to the FMVs? And they're like, oh no, I just click OK and like skip most of that stuff. I'm like, well, of course you're not gonna become like engaged by it because you're just skipping it.
Did you enjoy the experience of questing, or did it feel like more of a slog and chore?
I recently made an alt. The first time I thought it was pretty interesting, just wandering around and trying to figure out where to do stuff, exploring the zones. But a second time through, it is just killing things and trying to figure out where something is, which isn't the most fun.
I don't like PvE in basically every game except for Diablo. Diablo does a good job of raining loot, so like even if it's not something you're looking for, you get excited like, ooh, a shiny.
I think most of the quests are pretty damn boring, to be honest. I don't really enjoy the questing. I enjoy reading the quest lines. I don't really enjoy doing any of the quests.
I think quests and chores go hand in hand. I enjoy doing them. They are chores, but I find them to be enjoyable because it lets you go out and basically practice and see the environment.
I enjoy the quests more than any part of it. In fact, like that's what keeps me usually engaged, is actually being able to do the quests and having kind of an objective and stuff. Late game stuff, I kind of lose it on because you're just running dungeons at that point and you don't really have a whole lot to do sometimes.
What do you think of the dungeons in this game compared to other MMOs that you've played?
We haven't got to the more difficult ones, but I think so far they've been very sparse on the mechanic side. I know WoW is pretty famous for its raids, so I assume they are much more intense further down the line.
I think it laid the foundation for them. They evolved over time, and later on, the raids are fucking insane. Early on, they're kind of like just tank and spank though.
I really like how they use verticality, 3 dimensions, and how the dungeons can be traversed multitude of ways. How you don't have to take one specific set path from point A to point B, that there's different ways that you can approach the dungeons, and you know that there's fall damage, and there's bridges, and there's windows you can jump out of, and walls you can jump off of, and shit like that.
They are less linear. They have branches, and someone who is new like myself, who's never experienced their dungeons, I definitely did not know where we would need to have gone. I would have probably been walking around and just killing mobs. I wouldn't really have known where to go. However, they are pretty interesting the layouts are nice. I wish there were more mechanics with bosses. There's not a lot of things that you have to worry about outside of just DPSing.
Classic. They're still introductory, so these are weak dungeons comparatively to most other MMOs. There's mechanics and stuff like that in most MMO ones. In these dungeons, you pretty much just walk up to them and kind of smash them, and then it's kind of over. It's simple tank and spank at the moment, at least comparatively to the ones we run so far. Maybe there's something more to the raid, I don't know. But like retail, there actually is mechanics that you have to do, and you know, certain things you have to avoid and all that stuff that can really just wipe the entire group, where we didn't really seem to have much issue.
How do you compare the way that WoW Classic handles PvP to other MMOs that you've played?
I thought it's really interesting. I do like that all NPCs have levels, so you could theoretically kill enemy NPCs and sort of mess around with them, which I thought was really interesting and novel, and sort of made PvP much more interesting.
Well, as long as you play PvP server, I like the world PvP. A lot of MMOs, especially nowadays, have gotten off of that and are more like flag in certain areas or stuff like that. So it's nostalgic to like those type of games, and it's something that's my favorite. I think PvP should be everywhere because like adds atmosphere to like games and stuff.
I really enjoy how WoW Classic handles PvP in certain ways, and feel like it has room for improvement in others, but overall I can't complain because it's one of the better PvP MMOs I've played. I'll give you some examples. Like you, I'm for PvP being everywhere, and you know, I really want to be able to attack and kill annoying Horde members instead of only being able to attack and kill Alliance members. Other than that, I don't really have many complaints.
So far, my only involvement with PvP has been in the instance PvP. I have not yet experienced the open world PvP, but the instance PvP, it was cut and dry. Go get a flag, turn it back in, but you can't turn in with the other person having their flag. So it did create some standstill when we were both just waiting for some ninjas, quote unquote ninjas, to sneak on by to kill the other flag carrier so your team could turn it in.
Safe zones for early stuff. PvP for later if you're in a PvP server. Otherwise, there's battlegrounds, and most places have battlegrounds of some sort. And we haven't even gotten to good ones.
What did you think of the community, if you interacted with it at all?
I did have some fun RP moments. There was one when I was just wandering around Silverpine Forest, I think it is, jumping back along the cliffs there, and I was fishing at one of them, and then Druid came up behind me just randomly, and we had a little RP moment as if I was going to throw myself off the cliffs, and I eventually did throw myself off the cliff and RP drowning in the water.
If you spend any time in Baron's chat, you'll see that it's always toxic and hilarious, which is very nostalgic to World Chat, like in Perfect World per se. It's entertaining nevertheless.
No one's been mean or anything to me directly. I've had good one-on-one or two-on-two or whatever interactions. The PvP chat does seem a little toxic, but you're going to get that with games that have open chat.
I haven't really talked a whole lot with the community in Classic. But the couple of times I have, people have been generally friendly as long as you ignore the Barons chat. If you ever go to Barons, that's going to be all toxic and political as well. So just avoid Baron's chat and you're generally going to be good.
It's amusing. Are you likely to continue playing this game after the murder is done with its official exploration of it?
I might, but I don't know if I'm going to continue Season of Discovery because all of the content's very drip fed.
I don't know about Season of Discovery, it depends what they do, but Classic, yes.
Yeah, probably, but not a lot. Like sporadically here and there for funsies, probably quietly.
I'm probably going to try out different classes and stuff because I do enjoy tanking it. Warrior and WoW is very different from tanking in Final Fantasy so far. So it is interesting to see how they contrast. I'm interested in seeing how healer works or how DPSs work. So I think I'll give a few other things a try.
Once they release the next set of, leveling and stuff like that, I'll probably play a little bit more again. But once the murder's done with it, I'll probably take a break until that point because we're kind of at the end of it.
Hey Knights, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. For more awesome content, catch me live on Twitch or follow me on Twitter. Just search Kniraven or visit Kniraven.com. Thanks for the support, and see you next time.